on, guys? It's Sunday. There's frost on the ground. We turn the clocks back an hour. Let's get into it. Fourth and funny, week number 9 in the NFL. Let's go. The 4 topics that I am going to touch on in the NFL that happened over the week. And of course, we're going to get into the picks later in this episode. Last week, I took a little bit of a hit, went 7-5, but we're still looking pretty good at 57-33 overall for the season. So hanging in there. But let's go. First down. Baltimore bounced back with Lamar back in the lineup. Baltimore took on Miami on Thursday night. We don't really cover the Thursday night games here as other than a retrospect. So that's where we're going to start with first down. Baltimore and Miami on Monday night. Wow. Or on Thursday night, excuse me. I'm losing my days here already. Baltimore and Miami on Thursday night. Baltimore started Lamar Jackson coming back after missing several games with a hamstring injury, though it does look like they picked up a fine for misdesignating him on the injury report. But what this does for Baltimore, we'll get into the Miami side of this from the game coming up. But what this does for Baltimore is it gives you that former MVP. He has had time. He had the bye week. He took a couple weeks off, got that hamstring right. Now let's see if heading into this stretch run, the Ravens can turn their season around. Their next 4 games, they have significant opportunity to really get back in the win column and try to get back into the race for that division over the Pittsburgh Steelers. But they have the Vikings, Browns, Jets, and Bengals all coming up as their next 4 games, which will really give them an opportunity to get right and bounce back in Baltimore and try to push for the playoffs. Do I think Lamar's going to end up with that MVP trophy at the end of the season? He's going to have to play lights out the rest of the way. He did have a significant injury and missed time. I don't think he's going to end up with it in his hand this year. It's going to be somebody else. But Baltimore definitely needed that MVP player to come back because they are just a totally different team when Lamar's out there. Now, second down. On the flip side of this, on the flip side of the Baltimore-Miami game, on second down now, Miami is making moves, guys. They lost that game to Baltimore on Thursday night, and they are making moves. Now, we've covered here on Fourth and Funny a couple of times already when we thought Mike McDaniels was going to get the boot in Miami. They have not looked good. He does not sound good up at that podium. But after this loss to Baltimore, they did make some moves. They let their GM go. They haven't let Mike McDaniels go, and word out of Miami is that they are going to retain McDaniels throughout the season. So it doesn't look like he's going to get the boot in mid-season. I mean, you really, at this point, we're halfway through the season. You might as well just ride it out. It's not going to make much of a difference. We'll see if we see some more firings coach-wise. But they did take out their GM, which the trade deadline is coming up Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And we're going to also talk more about that here in a minute as well. But the Miami Dolphins, they're now looking for a GM. Who's going to handle their trades? Are they going to have a fire sale? It looks like overhaul changes are coming to the Miami Dolphins. It's just a matter of when and how. They've got some players that look like they could be available on the trade deadline. We'll see who's making those calls and what happens through the rest of the season with the Miami Dolphins because they are floundering. Third down, guys. We got the Hutch jersey on. We're rocking it. Third down, Motor City mega deal. Aiden Hutchinson this week, coming off of the bye, signed a massive $180 million contract that places him just behind Micah Parsons for non-quarterback highest paid player in the NFL. I believe 141 of that was guaranteed. It was a 4-year deal that ties Hutchinson to Detroit through the 2030 season. So it looks like we're solid through the rest of the decade with a big core of players being signed over the last couple of years. I'm glad that it happened during the bye week. We're not distracting. And Hutch has come out and said that he is not involved in the business side of his contract negotiations. He is there to play football and perform to the best of his ability. Dude's a wrecking ball. He may not hit the quarterback every time, but he is just one of those guys that's a problem. He just is. And if Aleen McNeil and the rest of that front can stay healthy and Davenport, I think it's really going to help him. Do I think the Lions are going to go out and make a trade at the trade deadline for one of those big name pieces? No, I don't. But I think that they've still got a solid front with Hutch, McNeil, Williams, Tyleek, that the rookie they drafted, and then if Davenport can stay healthy. I would like an alternate, maybe a second tier guy that we can rotate with Davenport or Phil when Davenport is down, because he does have that history of injuries. And we also have Bob Muhammad coming off that side as well. So congrats to Hutch. Looks like he is healthy and playing at a high level and earned that $181 million contract. Now, we've talked a lot about trades. Let's get into fourth down, guys. Fourth down, the NFL trade deadline. There's a lot of teams out there, a lot of chatter. Let's do this. In the comments down there, drop your team and what move you would like to see your team make at the trade deadline. Personally, I've said it just a minute ago. My team is the Lions, and I'd like to see them add some sort of depth at defensive line, and our secondary is awfully tore up right now as well. The Eagles seem to be gas all the way down to the floor. They went after Jair Alexander and traded for him earlier over the weekend, and he will be starting in Green Bay for Philadelphia when they take on the Packers. Breece Hall is a name that's been linked to being moved for teams that need a running back upgrade. The NFL traditionally doesn't have a lot of moves. More moves have been made over the last several years that from back in the day. I mean, back in the day, the trade deadline used to be, I think, after week 5. And at that point, it was just basically, then you just release players and you hope they got picked up and made it to you in the draft order or whatever, however that waiver wire claim works. But not a lot of trades. I don't think there's going to be a blockbuster. I don't think you're going to see some huge names being moved. I think teams will do a few things to tweak what they have just to get that little bump over the hill or that Band-Aid to get them till their players are healthy and ready for that postseason push. All right, guys, that's the trade deadline. That's been the 4 downs for this week. Bounce back in Baltimore, Miami making moves, Motor City mega deal, and the trade deadline. What are your thoughts? Let's hear it. Drop them down there in the comments and like, subscribe, follow, share, all those things. Please, it helps me out. Like I said before, went 7-5 in the picks last week at a healthy 57-33. We've got 4 teams on the bye this week. We've got Cleveland, the Jets, Philadelphia, and Tampa Bay on the bye this week. So, let's get into the picks. Are you guys ready? Pick 'em! All right. San Francisco taking on the New York Giants. I'm going to take the Niners in this game. The Niners just are more of a complete team. Jackson Dart, he's still out there doing his thing. That devastating injury to Cam Scattaboo last week, where his ankle was basically backwards. Yeah, he was a wrecking ball, and I didn't think that would be the injury that took him out. But, yeah, he did not last long. So give me San Francisco in that one. Then we've got the Chargers and Tennessee. I know Tennessee made that coaching change, but still, give me the Chargers to take this one. Then we've got Atlanta and New England. We got Kirk Cousins possibly playing, or is Michael Penix going to be back out there? We'll find out. But Drake May is still slinging the ball on the other side of the field, so give me New England. This next game is going to be pretty interesting. We've got Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Danny Dimes has been carrying and doing well with that offense. Jonathan Taylor may be the first non-quarterback MVP in a while. We'll see how that goes. He is tearing up the rushing field, scoring touchdowns, bailing them out. But Danny Dimes is still balling out of his mind. Aaron Rodgers, though, is having that fountain of youth, age of resurgence, and playing really well. They lost to the Packers last week. I had them in that game, but still a lot closer game and better game than I thought it was going to be. Just don't ever wear those uniforms again, please. They're terrible. Give me Indy in this game. I like the Colts. I want to see them. They're kind of that dark horse surprise team that I can go, okay, yeah, let's see what you can do. So give me the Colts in that game. And now we've got the Denver Broncos taking on the Houston. All right, we've got Denver taking on the Houston Texans. Let's see how this one shakes out. Bo Nix versus Stroud, right? Nico Collins may be out on this game as well. Again, he was out last week. Let's see if his health will be an issue in this game. Give me Houston. I think Houston is going to be sneaky good coming down the stretch. I think they're just one of those slow start teams. They seem to make the playoffs every year. They just seem to be that team. Then we've got Chicago and Cincinnati. This game, Chicago is starting to pick up some momentum with Caleb and that offense getting it going. Their defense is still their defense. They have pieces there. Cincinnati, though, with that trade for Joe Flacco earlier in the season after Joe Burrow went down and they tried the Jake Browning experiment, they've looked better. Do I think that they're going to be able to run with Chicago? I do. I think that this may be one where Cincinnati, depending on the weather, I'm not a weather guy. I didn't check the weather on this game. But being that it's November, it's cool in Cincinnati or in Chicago, both outdoors. Weather could play a factor in this game. I'm going to take Cincinnati in this game. I think Joe Flacco is going to be able to spread that ball around to Jamar and T. Higgins and just do what they need to do to get this guy. I don't think that this is going to be a pretty game or a stat filler game, but we'll see how that shakes out. Now we've got Carolina taking on Green Bay. This is Carolina is starting to look a little better. They show signs of life, of being an NFL team, but the Packers are just too strong, and give me the Packers. Unfortunately, give me the Packers. Damn. New Orleans taking on the Raiders. These are two teams that are just, I don't even know what they are, and I don't know that they know what they are. This one is it's the Rams. New Orleans and the Rams. I messed that one up, guys. New Orleans taking on the Rams. That's an easy one. Give me Matt Stafford and the Rams. Jacksonville and the Raiders. There we go. That's the game. Jacksonville taking on the Raiders. Again, a pick'em game. Both teams their bus could break down on the way to I won't pay much attention to this game, guys. I just won't. So, fork to my nose, give me Jacksonville. Why not? Duval. Kansas City and Buffalo. This is going to be the highlight game of the later schedule. We've got Kansas City taking on Buffalo. Buffalo got right in their game last week. Kansas City got their three-peat, 3 wins in a row this season. I don't know, guys. This is going to be maybe one of those week 1 Baltimore Buffalo games where it's very back and forth, high power offense, a lot of yards. This one could be electric. I'm going to go with Buffalo on this one because I like Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills a little more than I like Patty Mahomes. I'm thinking with my heart instead of my head on this one. Both teams are very, very skilled, very, very good. They've got talent all over at every position, just about. And it's really going to be one of those battles. Is this a AFC championship matchup possibility? Yes. But give me Buffalo in this one. And then we have Sunday Night Football. We have Seattle taking on Washington. I'm going to take Seattle in this game. I just feel like the Seahawks are playing the most consistent football of these two teams. Jaden Daniels has been in and out with injury. We'll see if Debo can get things rolling on his end. The defense is still a little shaky for Washington, I feel like. From what I've watched, I don't feel like they're a solid defensive team, but they've got pieces there. And, Bobby Wagner's still playing. He's 900 years old or whatever. So, give me Seattle in this game. And then Monday Night Football, we've got Arizona taking on Dallas. Jacoby Brissett is going to start another game for the Cardinals. I don't think we have a quarterback controversy, but I do feel like they've been playing a little better with Jacoby Brissett under center. The Cowboys, though, are just a little too much, but they're also too inconsistent. This is a pick'em game for me, and I hate the Cowboys, as you guys know. Being a Detroit Lion fan, we hate Cowboys. Give me the Cardinals in this one. Another heart over head pick. So, just to recap, we got San Francisco, the Chargers, New England, Indy, Houston, Cincinnati, Green Bay, the Rams, Jacksonville, Buffalo, Seattle, and Arizona as your winners for this week. We also have the Lions taking on the Vikings at Ford Field. I am not picking this game. I am abstaining from the game as I am a fan and don't want to put anything on my team. All right, guys. That's been Week 9 in the NFL. The picks. The 4 downs. What more is there? All right. Let's go enjoy the games. Catch you next week for Fourth and Funny. I've been your host, Jake Mattis. See ya.